Record. All right, we're recording. Welcome back, everybody. It's January 2018, January the 8th to be precise. This is our first call back on Aligning with Success since the holidays. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. It was a busy one for the DiMuccio family, that's for sure. Certainly for me, I was hosting everybody on all the occasions, so I got my hands dirty. And all the while, still focusing on the business. I managed to crack that fourth silver and earn my way into Team Kaizen. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about that. Thank you for those of you who are applauding in silence. And I did pull up my PowerPoint or the presentation, the PDF that Jeff sent me. I think I may have been one of the first people to get a glance at this of the upcoming, well, the incentives beginning this month, and address any questions you might have, and give you some insights about it from my point of view. I know many of you may have already listened to a call that I did with Dave Johnson on Saturday, I believe it was. And on that call, I pretty much said all I had to say about my feelings toward this incentive, the value of it, the experience of just going on a trip to Italy, but more importantly, the experience of sharing time with people, forging a new group, a new community, if you will, for this next wave is very exciting. I'm seeing stuff happen on my Zoom that I haven't seen before, so I'm not sure if there's some features that have been added. Cheryl, you're sort of doing this, so talk to me.
Oh, sorry. Firstly, I was just going to say I was trying to find that call, and I couldn't find where it's recorded. Like I went on the Magnetic Leaders, I tried to fumble through there. Do you know where Dave may have put that?
I'm not sure. Have you checked the Royal Alliance? Sometimes he pops something on that site as well. Because it was a video, so it may have been put there. Have you seen it?
As of this morning on his Rev call, it wasn't posted yet, and he talked about maybe just doing an audio version as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know that we need too much visuals. All I had to show there was my T-shirt. Anyway, okay, so first of all, just let's welcome back to the throw of things. This week was a little bit slow getting started, or last week was a little bit slow getting started, but I'm kind of in full swing right now. We have a few things going on in the Nikken world. We have the launch of the Hispanic market tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully you all know how to plug in and how to promote that call. It's in Spanish only, so be sure to know that. But I'm wondering if one or two of you or all of you may actually be interested in just watching how this production goes. We actually did a dress rehearsal for this last week, and I like the direction of how this webinar is going, since it will have a multitude of speakers and an announcer and a video all sort of embedded in, and I'll be managing the process and behind the scenes. So it should be a good one. And an exciting one.
That dress rehearsal is available to watch?
No. It's a dress rehearsal for that reason. Since when would you watch a dress rehearsal publicly?
What you just said, if you're interested in watching how it goes.
That's tomorrow's call. Tomorrow's call is not a dress rehearsal. That's the one. Right. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you're wondering what time it is in Mexico, I think they're an hour behind, so it'll be 8 p.m. Mexico time. Colombia is the same time zone as Toronto, so it'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Toronto time. So anyway, if you haven't seen the promo stuff, send me an email. I'm sure you have, because I've tried my best to get it all out there. There's a short video, there's a long video in terms of a promo video. There's the flyer and the whole flyer. And some of you have also been circulating the flyer that has the addendum, which has the agenda on it. And in addition, there's now some instructions in Spanish on how people should get connected to Zoom. So let me just make that point. And there's a caller calling here, and show non-video participants. There we go. That helps. Let me just mute that. Okay. So what we what we have is instructions to share with people is please do tell your prospects or contacts or whoever you're sending this out to, it's really best for them to download Zoom well in advance of the call. That way, when they do click that URL, www.tngzoom.com, it's going to go straight to the way it does when you guys log into this call. It'll go straight into the opening window, and then when the call goes live, which will probably be about 1:45, we'll be live on the call, but we will not be ready to launch the call until the top of the hour. Then at that point in time, everything's going to appear for them. So just FYI on that. Anyways, let me switch gears here for a second on the incentives. Many of you know or have had a chance now to look at some of these incentives. Are there any questions any of you have about the 2018 incentives? Because I personally think this is where we ought to begin when we're talking about aligning with success for 2018. We ought to look at aligning with the company's incentive plan, which is more than just an incentive plan. It's a business plan, and set our sights on achieving all of these incentives. So any questions about that? Okay, well then what I'm going to do is, if I may, share my screen here and share with you the incentive plan just to go over it. So give me a thumbs up if you can see it on your screen. Okay, great. Okay, so we now have a fifth. The Power Start has been included now in the tiers, which fills in the gap, by the way, because many of you had noticed that at the beginning of the year last year, the first promotion happened at 1,500 points. But since we are in the process of teaching 3 to reach 3, what are we teaching those people? And the first step was 500 points, which was the QE, the quality enrollment, and then doing a multiplicity of that. So if you teach somebody to do 500, and then you teach, or if you do 500 and then you teach 3 to do 500, that's when you hit your 1,500 and off you go. So the 500 was missing, and so now we know that's included in this, and it's a simple plan. Example: do 500 points in month 1. In month 2, do another 500 points with a frontline consultant, and in month 3, do a second consultant at 500 QP PV, and bingo, you've hit the Power Start. You've sponsored a couple of people. You've set in motion a pattern of behavior, which is the important part about the Power Start, is it tees up a certain disposition, a way of thinking about the business in terms of generating volume on a consistent basis, personal volume on a consistent basis. And so this will also reward you for rank advancing to executive. So there's a benefit to doing this, and the reward is 99 Nikken points that you can use toward the purchase of Nikken products, which essentially is paying back your registration fee. So it's a nice little perk, but it's not so much the perk, it's the idea of setting in motion a behavior, which is ultimately what we want to do. It's the first behavior, which is how to talk to people and generate some business. Now, the Entrepreneurs Club, yeah, is there a question?
Yes, it's Suzanne. So the example is showing 2 frontline consultants, and it's showing that consistency, but it doesn't mention that you have to have X number of people as consultants. Is that
correct?
True?
That's correct. So it's not a requirement, but it is it's a description, what we see here. It's a way to do it. And so that's, I think, what they're suggesting here. So for instance, let's say I have somebody who purchases some products and they upgrade to become a consultant. Now I have somebody to work with.
Mike, today on the Platinum Alliance call, your Leo LeMay spoke. It was, and Charlie LeMay interviewed him. It was very powerful. The guy is absolutely on fire because after 20 years with Nikken and 10 network marketing companies, this is what he did. And it was the best half-an-hour explanation in French, English, help with Charlie, and a lot of interference. But with all of that, it was the best explanation of this. And out of that, he has 16 new distributors, and of the 16, Charlie said, well, how many are actually duplicating it? And he said 12.
Wow.
And Charlie says, well, that's not the average. The average is, just 1/3 of the 16. Nope, he's he's having so much fun, and they're having fun. So you'll have to look at that.
Perfect.
When Barb Satterwhite asked him, who's your upline? And he said, oh, Mike DiMuccio. And this is the law of attraction. And it just seems so different than what you have been presenting. And he is absolutely on fire. Out of that, there's some new idea generation coming out through the Platinum Alliance today. So there's an energy created by truly giving an example. And the other thing he said, which will make you feel good, that in 20 years, in this last year, to generate the amount of retail sales in the 16 people, he contacted more people than he ever did in all of his 20 years. Wow. So it's the contacting and just promoting. He said, I tell people I go to their house. I don't invite them to events because they don't come. And I'm just coming to have fun and show them a product. And I don't want them to join. And so it puts them off guard. And then they're coming and saying, well, I want to do what you're doing because it's fun. You're making, and it's fast and it's easy. And so I think you'll enjoy watching that interview.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not sure where that's going to be posted, but I certainly will. I want to make that point, though. The point that you're making is this Power Start is a response to a result of contacting and inviting. So the core competence, the very first core competence that ties back to this Power Start is the one that we need to learn. So if we're looking at baby steps in terms of advancing the progress or the competence of a consultant, let me just mute that line. If we're looking at advancing competence, because that's not just rank advancement, there's the balance of advancing in rank and then marrying that with understanding how to duplicate that.
And he said that. He said, excuse me, I'm sorry. He said, I didn't want to sponsor. I don't want to. He kept saying that, but his goal is qualifying diamond and 2 successive paragons in a row. So it's happening out of the massive contacting and inviting and simplifying. So it really is making that point.
Yeah. When I launched my business 26 years ago, I sponsored 26 people in that first 30 days. And then I added 9 more people in the next month. Now, clearly, there was no way for me to know who was going to pick up the ball and run. Just no way. And there was no way for me to manage that many people as if I was going to launch them myself. So what I did was I factored in the law of averages or the law of numbers. The idea that those who will take up the slack and start duplicating will do it. They won't need me to tell them to do it. It's going to be out of their own desire. But what I could create in the meantime to support that effort is a platform that they could utilize or leverage, which was the weekly meetings, the calendar of events plus the basic training. So I was busy putting together what we refer to as the rhythm of the business. And I was going to make that my call tonight, but I think I'm going to wait a week for that one. The idea of the rhythm of the business is what leaders do in order to support the activity that invariably comes from a mass influx of people. And when you're on an explosive launch like we are right now in 2018, you expect recruiting numbers to go up exponentially. Well, it's impossible to manage people on a one-to-one basis in that type of scenario. So the only way to manage it is to shift gears and go into a platform approach where you're working with groups and teams. And that, again, is where the rhythm of the business comes in. It's developing the platform. So when we look at that next week, we'll look at what are the stages of development when you're working with a team of people, not just an individual, and how do you incorporate that individual or those individuals into your plans so that built into your planning is a redundancy, meaning from the get-go, you're looking to replace yourself. That's one of the things that you're looking to do as you develop your Nikken business, is you're looking for people to take over their roles and their responsibilities, but they need to be defined. Otherwise, we don't know how to pass them on. So this Power Start bonus is just a way to get one core competence up and running. And that is contacting and inviting people with an expectation. There needs to be an expectation in terms of an outcome where the business is concerned, and that's that 500 PB at least on a monthly basis. Now, I know this is a lightweight approach to the business, but we've got to keep that in mind, that if it's 500 a month they're doing or 1,500 a month they're doing, it doesn't matter. It's the consistency. And when we look at the last program here, the Team Kaizen program, the consistency that's trying to be developed at the leadership level is 3,000 a month, which would, by the way, be consistent with someone who is really in launch mode in their business, whether you are an existing...
who really had this duplication. And Mike, even though it seems simple, if there would have been more people winning on that list that won the mattress sale incentive, if there were more people that had the 500. So it, even though it may be simple, it is still isn't happening over last year.
Well, I'll tell you, I when I saw the incentive for the Team Kaizen, I rang up Jeff and I said, Jeff, I have an idea, and we'll be hearing more about that idea very shortly. But the thing that I said was, oh gosh, I don't know, that 3,000 points every single month. Who's gonna, like, the business doesn't go that way. It just goes in waves, and so it's not that predictable. Where 3,000 is a predictable number. He says, well, Mike, you did it 10 out of 12 months last year. I thought, oh, I did. I didn't even know that. Most of my volume really came surging in toward the end of the year with those silvers, but I guess I was doing something consistent, even though I wasn't really in building mode personally. So I think that somebody who is in building mode should be able to make those numbers. But there will be a plan B. That's the good news. So you'll be hearing about that. So let's go on to the Entrepreneurs Club. So Entrepreneurs Club is really sort of a continuity, a continuation of the concept, where now if we duplicate this, we're going to create 3 frontline people who do that, teach 3 to reach 3, and they advance. They hit the power start bonus, and we hit our 6,000 points. I hear somebody doing something on a microwave, so I can't figure out which line that's coming in from. I'd like to mute it out. Because I'm on share mode here. I can't see where it's coming from. Perhaps one of you might make a note of that line.
There's Patty Patterson.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. So this is pretty straightforward. 6,000 group volume, develop 3 new front executives, and in 30 days. So within this is more the approach I would take in launching somebody. I'm more after something like this, an Entrepreneurs Club, because I think that this is something they should be hitting within their first month. And I just want to touch on this because 4 silvers in 3 months is what happened for me in the last throes of the year. And the emphasis to create that volume, every single one of them started with some big retail orders. Every one of those silvers, the prospect of that silver began with sleep system orders. Did I lose you guys? Hello?
You?
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Where did I lose you?
About 2 minutes ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Into the just
Okay, so let me back up for a second here. So where was I at when I lost you?
Starting with the
Talking about the Entrepreneurs Club.
All right, perfect. Thank
and
you.
how you liked doing it that way.
I like doing it this way because this is a little bit more of a taller order and it puts them on a faster pace, essentially. And I'm all for fast. I'm all for speed. I think speed's really, really important. So when I'm working with somebody and I want to launch somebody, I want to have a lot of traffic. And so as you can see, this is 6,000 points, which is what it takes to build a silver. Now, the silvers that I created in the last part of the year, it was 4 in 3 months, 2 of them in the first month, 1 of them in the next month, and then one in the next month. And there was only 1 that was a multi-month silver, the first one. So the process started with a large retail order. that's what triggered the potential. When I saw that coming together, then that's where now, and by the way, when I mean a large retail order, I'm talking about sleep and water, and primarily sleep in this case, by the way. And I was chatting with who was I chatting with? Another Team Kaizen, Nancy Claremont, and she did the same thing. She saw the same thing come together. It was large retail orders, and then that sort of prompted there's a real chance here that this group could really do something here. So, which is why that first power start, which gets people out there talking with some expectation, could lead to a retail sale, and that could prompt the next phase of this where you ramp up. And that's kind of what happened. What happened was we didn't launch into the month knowing this was going to happen. I mean, I had that in my mind, but the person I was working with didn't. What they had was possibly an order, a big order, and maybe a couple. And so I started to see, I was the strategist formulating what could come next while they were focused on what they were focused on. And so, and so that's really another thing that we talk about when we talk about roles and responsibilities and the rhythm of the business is there's somebody who has to wear the captain's hat, somebody who has to sort of steer and direct the strategy of breaking that silver, while the person who's actually in the throes of going silver, they don't know that. They're busy doing what it is that you've taught them how to do or you've encouraged them to do, which is contact and invite. If they're contacting and inviting and they're getting people in front of you, then things are going to happen. You might put a little too much pressure on them if you tell them too fast up front, hey, you're going silver this month, that might sort of startle them and maybe get them on their heels. So you want to just keep putting fuel on the fire. Whatever they're excited about, keep them excited, keep them doing the work that it takes to prime the pump. And then you as the strategist helping them go silver will start to see how it can come together and what you can do to tweak that. So this Entrepreneurs Club is really something that happens and can consider happening, I think, for the way to go silver. It's a good strategy for going silver. Then the question becomes, well, how many people do we need to contact and invite and get into this process for us to generate 3 frontline executives or higher within a 30-day period? And the answer is the rule of thirds. As a rule, 3 times as many people will say they're going to commit as who commit, and 3 times as many people need to be presented to who of that number who say that they're going to commit. So if you work backwards, it's the rule of thirds. That's why we need that $1 million list. That $1 million list makes this possible for somebody looking to launch their business. Paragon Award is again 3 frontline silver. So if we've got people, if we've done this, if we've got the first part of this Entrepreneurs Club under our belt, then the next part of it is just an extension. It's just simply carry that forward 1 generation. So now I'm working with 2nd level people, not 1st level people. To hit the Paragon, you're working with 2nd or 3rd level people, not necessarily the 1st level people. And so now you're creating depth in this Paragon Award as well. And that means creating 3 silvers within a 3-month period. That'd be 18,000 in volume. It's just 3 silvers. Any questions about any of this so far? Pretty straightforward, right? But it's a great plan because now what we have is movement forward. We have momentum. We've identified 3 key people. We've taught them the fundamentals to duplicate. What's next? Take it down 1 more generation is what's next. So when you take it down 1 more generation, those people will break gold. They're hitting their qualifications for the Paragon, making them essentially gold. And you break in 3 gold. So this is now taking it down the 3rd generation. And here we go. The results of that is a pinnacle prize. So you are now definitely on the throes of the next promotion, which is, well, if you haven't done it already, you've hit platinum with this. So the bonus obviously is a cruise. Everyone likes a cruise. And then there's this Team Kaizen thing. So let me talk about this for a second because This is the prize. I want you guys to keep your eye on the prize. There's no reason in the world, and there should be no doubt in the world or no question in the world that everyone listening to my voice on this call, whether you're listening to it live or you're listening to it playback on this January 8th, 2018, that you should not only be going to Italy, but you should be considering who you're going with. This program is really designed to target new people. Now, I know it says incentive is aimed at recognizing top Nikken consultants from the leadership ranks of Platinum, Diamond, Royal Diamond, who consistently complete a certain amount of volume, that's 3,000 volume, and paid at their PIN level. So if you're not paid at your PIN level, that's the first order of business. Well, how do you get paid at your PIN level? You got to grow the business. Well, how do you grow the business? Go back to the first incentive. Do the Power Start, do the Entrepreneurs Club, and that's building your business. Because if you actually followed through yourself on this, you would be a platinum in rank, at least a pay rank. And at that point in time, you're now in the qualifications for Team Kaizen. But what if you were just brand new? If you were brand new, go platinum. Just go platinum and maintain the volume once you hit platinum, and you are in Team Kaizen. So this is a great offer for people who are looking to get into a business, build their business, and platinum in a year, based on what the numbers are, 30,000 in volume that you're growing. Platinum in a year should be, that's longer than it should take. I think you should be targeting a platinum within 3 to 6 months would be a reasonable expectation. And then you could build your business plan around that. I'm going to be launching some people, and I expect to do that. So, and I expect them to do that simply because that's just simply them following this path, this program. If you do the numbers, if you do the math, you'll see it's all about 3 months, 90-day calendar. So if we're breaking platinums this year, that's this prize of going to Italy is a heck of a prize to offer somebody. And you may have noticed my Facebook posts the last few times. Who wants to go to Italy with me? Free, all expense paid trip to Italy. I even got my brother-in-law asking me about that, who's my accountant, by the way. So people will ask. And it's a tremendous tool and incentive for people to get going in the business. Any questions about this before I mention something else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If the wellness home is coming back, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
is there any reason why we couldn't do the Power Start instead of 500 with a wellness home? When I went silver, I had people in my group starting their business as executives.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the right way to go.
That's my big hairy goal, my big audacious goal for 18 is to have people coming in with a wellness home.
Well, by the end of this week, by the way, we should have our PowerPoint done. We're at the final stages. We need to present to Nikken before we do with everybody else. But what we have is a really beautiful conversation about the wellness home, what it is, and why it's so important. And essentially, it is what will condition a certain behavior. Have you noticed that those of you living in a Nikken wellness home are much more conscientious about everything health? You're just simply much more conscientious. So the Nikken wellness home triggers an environment that causes a subtle and subconscious behavioral shift.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. And so this is the answer to how do we reshape society so that it becomes health-oriented rather than sickness-oriented, because it has been, over the years, subtly conditioned to become sick-oriented. In fact, every single commercial on television that's a pharmaceutically sponsored or pharmaceutical-sponsored commercial is a commercial that tells you about symptoms that you may have, like, are you breathing? Well, you may be suffering from anxiety or whatever. I don't know. These days, it doesn't take much to be diagnosed with something, right? They're looking for ways to diagnose us into a condition so they can prescribe some, antidote, and it's never really an antidote. It's just something that helps, or that supposedly helps to maintain some normalcy, right? So what we have is a conditioning happening. We have a society that for over 50 years has been conditioned into becoming ill and expecting doctors to solve the issue with some form of a prescription. And now the doctors are even being bypassed, and they're coming straight into your brain with you telling your doctor what to order or to prescribe for you. So the conditioning that's been happening in the Western Hemisphere, or industrialized nations who bought into the sick care industry and all of that, that whole concept has conditioned us into the state of mind where health is not a priority. However, what is the antidote to that? What is it that we can provide society that will condition them into a state of mind where health is a priority? And it happens on a subtle level and a subconscious level. Well, what makes a doctor credible? What makes them an authority? There's been a system designed to accredit the doctor. What makes wellness or the environment an authority? Well, how do we establish that? We need an accredited wellness home. That's what we need. And so when we create that certification, that concept of a certified Nikken wellness home, then now what we have is a place that's been rubber stamped as a place, an environment that will induce, inspire a healthy outlook, a healthy attitude, healthy behavior, and subsequently a condition that leans us toward health and well-being. So that's why this is so important, this concept of the wellness home. So yeah, the wellness home becomes back front and center stage because it is not only great for business in terms of the volume that it can generate, it's the mission. It's the very thing that can be the counterbalance or the counterweight to the conditioning of society towards sickness. It's the conditioning of society towards health and well-being. And that's what we're going to talk about in our presentations. That's going to come up in your conversations when you're delivering that message. What is a wellness home? Why do we need it? And then what does it look like? So having people start off with a wellness home, how I'm asking people to join is I'm saying, I want you to consider joining Nikken and purchasing the products that will give you the highest impact, both personally and for your business. And the items that generate the biggest profit and advancement in rank in terms of our qualifications are the sleep and water, that combination. But that combination also gives you the most bang for your buck in terms of results in your well-being, so that you will be able to speak firsthand about the benefits of the Nikken product. So it's in your business's best interest that you invest in sleep and water. The rest are obviously complementary and just add to the experience. But if we need to maximize our money and make it go in the right direction quicker, then I would focus the attention on sleep and water, because that, when it's duplicated through your business, will generate the most profits and the most impact sooner. And so that's a business conversation that you have when you're talking to somebody looking at this as a business. You want to show them how to maximize returns. That's why they're doing this as a business. So going back to the Team Kaizen qualifications, wonderful concept, wonderful opportunity to spend time with Nikken field leaders all over the world. And it looks like there will be an alternate pathway for achieving Team Kaizen. There'll be a premium for not hitting the 3,000 monthly. So I would encourage everybody to do the 3,000 monthly path, because at the very least, you know that you're gonna get that trip. But at the same time, it's a reflection of the consistency of the business building habits that you're forming. And if we look at Leo's example, how is he generating all this activity? It all goes back to the same old, contact and invite. But if you've got a friendly way to do it, and a way that people are inspired to want to participate in, where they'll lead you to other people, then, and if your message is strong, then this should take care of itself. So again, this Nikken compensation plan is a path. It's a wonderful path for someone looking for a business plan. I've been in Nikken, 26 years, and only these last 2 years did Nikken ever provide a path, a business plan, which is really exciting for us. And by the way, Italy's phenomenal. Need I say more? So, any questions?
You need to put a picture of you and your kids in Italy. I'm sure you have some somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah, I do.
You gotta add that to it, Mike.
Add to what? The presentation?
To the presentation on Italy.
Oh, well, yeah. Great memories there. Anyways, so I want to just... Yes.
Mike, I'm sorry I'm driving, but when you're building the wellness home, and I think it was Elaine that was saying to start out with if you can get them to purchase the wellness home, that's good. But how do they rank advance? I mean, like if they buy the sleep system, I mean, if they buy that under their
Carol, we've addressed this question a million times over. You know the answer to this question. I've not changed anything. So rather than answering that question on a recorded call, I think we all understand how to get around that issue. Everybody knows a customer. Everybody can find a customer. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
So I know that January 20th is on the Royal Alliance Zoom link. The way I go there is I go to Royal Alliance RA Live. If I'm inviting other people who are in other states, is that how they go, or can I put a link in an email?
You can put that link in the email. Just I advise you that, remember, if they're gonna try and join that and they haven't yet downloaded Zoom, they're gonna be prompted to download Zoom. So that might take them a couple minutes, so they may be losing time. So if you do invite people who are not on Zoom, because no matter how you invite them, they're going to get that link.
Right, but do I send them to the Royal Alliance,
.com/live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
our URL for all these public meetings on this channel. So that gives us the opportunity to simplify the URL address, so you don't have to memorize different ones. Okay. But again, just an FYI, let people know that if they're going to join, that either join a few minutes early so they can download the app, because they'll be prompted to do that, or and by the way, I don't know if this is true all the time, but I think that once you download the app, they do give you the URL, the direct URL with the number and everything, or you can just go back into your browser, type in the URL for team or the royalalliance.com/live, and then it will do all what it needs to do to get in. So it's just once the computer, your phone has Zoom on it, then it knows how to deal with the link. Whether you're giving them the royalalliance.com/live link, or you're giving them the meeting ID 776-083-2783, and then they have to punch it in, and whichever way you give it to them, they still need to have Zoom. It's no different than Skype. You can't join a Skype meeting unless you have Skype. So this is just a better platform all around. And by the way, another thing, I'm sure you're all doing it, WhatsApp, but encourage people who you care about and want to connect with to get on WhatsApp, because it's just such an easier way to manage communications, I find, on all fronts. So, any other questions?
I have a question about April in San Francisco. That is the third Saturday. So is that where the power call is going to come from?
Correct.
And then the October one, is it the 20th of October?
It's always the third Saturday. So let me just.
Toronto. So the power call will come from Toronto.
Oh, I'm sorry. In that particular case, there won't be a power call on that day. That day will be the event live.
But
like
is it the 20th, the third week? So
Yeah.
those of us that are planning.
No, I'm sorry. October, the October event isn't that the week after the October event?
That's
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
13th, I think.
Your
Yeah,
event's the week before.
It's the Power ABC on the 20th of October. I believe that's the week after the event.
So Toronto is the 13th.
It's the weekend after. I always remember it as the weekend after Thanksgiving. So, does anybody know when Canadian Thanksgiving is?
Yeah, the 8th. I have my calendar open here. That's
Okay, so it is that weekend. So it's the weekend of the 13th. Yeah.
That's Toronto.
Correct.
Yep.
And then
All
the
right.
Power ABC the following weekend.
That's correct. Keep in mind, the Toronto event is a live functional meeting, international in scope. Just by the way, again, this comes back to our education on the rhythm of the business, and we will get into this, but how to understand multiple events that seem to be competing with one another. If they're properly designed and you understand who the target audience is, the question is always, who's the target audience? So if you understand who the target audience is, then there's no real overlap. Can you have multiple events on the same day? Yeah, if the audience is targeted, if it's a different target. So in the Power ABC, that's a regional meeting that you're having in your area. But if you're in Toronto, you're not going to be having a regional meeting. So the regional meeting is usurped by the main event. That becomes where they overlap and they become one and the same. So you will want to invite people to the Toronto event. However, when we go back to our respective time zones and regions, you want to keep that rhythm going. And so you'll have your rhythm of events. And there will be times where they overlap and they are combined. And then there are times where they're not combined, where it's a different audience. So for instance, a prospecting meeting is not the same as a getting started meeting. So you could have a prospecting meeting at 1 hour and a getting started meeting at another, and it's not the same audience. So the rhythm of the business takes that into consideration. Who's your target audience? So when I actually show this thing to you, you'll see every event is an ABC. There's always an A, there's always a B, and there's always a C. The A, their job is to present. You know, they host and create the platform. The B, that's the person who's leveraging the event, and they want to expose a C to it. So the role of the B in every event, what does a B do in an ABC?
They're leveraging.
Yeah, they're leveraging. Yeah, but their role in the ABC is to be quiet until what?
Until you're asked a question.
Until you're asked. And you'll be asked to share your testimony, right? Your story. And the role of the C is to listen and learn. So if we have designed our meetings correctly, so for instance, the mid-month event that we're suggesting you do on third Saturday of every event, the Power ABC, what's the target audience for that event? We've already indicated on our call to the launch partners that this event is going to focus on business. It's designed to be the lock-in event in our backward zigzag process. What is the role of the lock-in event in the process?
ABC for new people.
No.
No, that already have.
Go on.
The launch.
That already have, go on. Remember the process.
That's right. They're already partway through the process.
Correct.
And this is the lock-in.
Correct.
To increase awareness, to move to
the closing.
It's the
To
close.
become a partner.
Yeah.
No, Erica was right. It's a closing event.
To the closing.
Yeah, to shift them from being in their mental space, a consultant, to being somebody in their mental space who wants to be a partner, meaning they want to really engage. That means they're going to bring to the party their contact list, their investment in their business, and their calendar. So the goal of the Lockin event is to shift them from being somebody who's in Nikken, doing Nikken,
Wanting to launch.
to somebody who wants to launch, to somebody who wants to get on board and start going after some of these incentives. So that's the goal. So who's the target? In that case, the target audience is somebody who's already informed. If you happen to invite somebody who knows nothing about Nikken on that call, that's not going to go against you, but that's not who the call is targeted for. So it'd be like inviting somebody to a secret meeting. Don't say anything, just listen. And so they get to see what happens behind closed doors, what really happens once you get in Nikken. And it should be positive. It should be a very good experience for them. So even if you happen to invite a guest who knows very little about Nikken to such an event, such a call, they're still going to benefit. But the event will be designed to talk to that person who's already down the road in the process so that we can move them to the next step, which is the commitment. So that's how a proper rhythm event goes. There's a target audience, and then other people are welcome, but there is a target audience. There's a focus. Otherwise, every event is the same event. It's like a rocking chair. It goes back and forth, but nobody ever goes anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But a properly designed rhythm event goes ratchets people forward. Anyways, guys, I think we're good for tonight. We went a little bit over time. I want to keep these calls to 45 minutes, even less if possible, because I know you're busy. I'm busy. We have in fact, we did make some announcements for those of you who know about Launch Partners. Launch Partners is open to people who want to commit to we're doing one call per month on Launch Partners now, not one a week. So it's Friday at noon Eastern, the first Friday of the month. We have a chat that is exclusive to Launch Partners, and a Facebook group, closed group, exclusive to Launch Partners. So who is a Launch Partner exactly? Well, these are people who have committed to launch their region. And now how we're demonstrating our commitment to the Launch Partners initiative is the commitment to host a local event once a month. A public local event once a month, whether it's in your home or it's in a public venue. The point is people can gain access to it if it's happening in your area, and you're hosting it on the third Saturday, plugging into this Power ABC call. So that way we can help establish a monthly rhythm in the major cities where there's a launch host. That gets people on the track of rhythm, expectation. Let's now make sure that event has guests. And now let's make sure that event has guests that are targeted, because we now know why we're having that event. So that means there has to have been some contact and invite prior, some presentations prior, etc. So hopefully the commitment by the Launch Partners to engage in this monthly activity will set in motion a rhythm that allows us to have a momentum on the next level, the next level of momentum. And with all the reasons in the world to do it, boy, if 2018 isn't going to be your breakout year, I don't know what year is going to be, guys. Seriously. We had all of 2017 to practice. Dress rehearsals. We did it. Some things good. We did some things not so good. We hit some of our goals. We didn't hit some of our goals. But you know what? We got the cobwebs out.
Yeah.
That's what happened in 2017. We got the cobwebs out. Now it's time to be all that we can be, and be the shining example of what it means to be an entrepreneur in a collaborative environment, working toward a cause that matters. People will respond because we've got the right vibe.
Quick question, Mike.
Yeah.
Is Ben continuing to do his
Leadership.
Tuesday
Yes.
calls? Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you for joining me this evening. And please take to heart the things that we talked about. You are the pinnacle. You're on the leading edge of the wedge, folks. You're how people are going to get to know we even exist. So don't keep it a secret. Oh, I didn't finish that statement about Launch Partners. So if you want to get involved, or if you want somebody to join Launch Partners, how do you do that? Go on to the Facebook group, Launch Partners Connection. Just go there and send me, click that you want to join. It just says, I want to join this group. what happens is it notifies me, and then I will send the instructions, which are essentially your goals. And guess what goals I'm going to point them to, folks? The incentive program. I'm going to point them to the incentive program. I'm going to say, you need to be focused on this. And so let's get some real goals here. And then where's your city? How do we reach you? And here's the commitment that you're preparing yourself to make. If you're willing to do that, send me a chat on my WhatsApp. We'll hook you into the Launch Partners connection, Facebook and WhatsApp, and now you're plugged in. You'll get all the feed that we share among Launch Partners, which, by the way, for those of you who are on it, has it not been invaluable? It's an amazing resource. So this is sort of the A tier. If you want to play in the big leagues and you want to play with the rest of us who are committed to hosting these events, then be a launch partner. We want.
I have a question, because some of us on here have already been working collaboratively together in a region. So on these, every Saturday, we had a little planning meeting on the calendar prior to this one. There's this little blue box on the Power ABC, and then there's the other mugshot. And so sometimes there's 3 of us. We're going to do the monthlies individually, and then quarterly, a group in a regional area, 50-mile radius. And we also want to have the pictures, like I have already 3 Latino silvers. I want their mugshots on there, not mine. Right. So as we're mentoring and we get the pictures out, does it really matter? We can't have 3 on the same one that we're doing together.
Sure. Well, you can. See, the thing is, every time you create a flyer, it's an opportunity for you to use that flyer to promote to your...
So we each have our own flyer, even though it's to the same address for the same bigger event?
Absolutely. I have no issue with that. In fact, that's how they do it in the UK. In the UK, when they hold a local event where there's 3 or more people who are facilitating that event, they create each of their own flyer so that they can promote that flyer.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And guys, let's make 2018, let's commit to making 2018 our best year yet. Not only in Nikken, but in life. Life is too short. We got to live it to the max. It's not a dress rehearsal for some, this is it. Let's live it. I like the way Jimmy Fallon says, how he opens his show every night. I don't know if you guys stay up until 11:30, 11:34. It's the only time I actually turn on the television is to go to sleep to Jimmy Fallon. But anyway, it's like he says, this is the Tonight Show. This is it. He always says that. This is it. It's like, you made it. This is it. So this is it, guys. This is 2018. We made it to 2018. Let's make 2018 the year that matters. The year that really matters.
I know I've sent mine in, Mike, but are you still wanting a written commitment from the people that are going to be part of the Launch Partners as requested?
That was the information they got on the Launch Partners call. Yes.
Okay.
So thanks, guys, for joining. I'll see you next week. Let's have a great call tomorrow. I hope you guys have some people that plug in and get some feedback on that as well next week. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.